Well, hello there, and thank you for tuning in to the Shameless Sex Podcast. I'm Amy, sex educator, somatic sex and relationship coach, and sex shop owner.
And I'm April, VP of an international high-end pleasure product company and boss queen sex toy mogul. We're best friends who make our own rules about who we are as sexual beings.
With everything from how to be a badass in the bedroom, to pussy praising, to top tips for bringing your relationship to the next level, we have something just for you.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Don't forget to head on over to our website at shamelesssex.com for more.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Woo! Episode number 13.
Numero 13.
So this episode is going to have a different twist. We are going to start with a question that we got from one of our fans. We will keep the name anonymous. It's a beautiful question, and we're going to answer this lovely sex question about escaping sex as escapism is the title. And then we go into our topic, which will be insecurity in relationships.
Of all sorts. Yes. Whether it's a partnership, friendship, insecurities.
How to navigate those
And
waters.
we'll out some of our insecurities as well.
So without further ado, what's this question you have, Chip?
So, first of all, I want to premise this question with thank you for writing in questions. We love questions. Write us anytime. Go to our www.shamelesssex.com and you can submit any question, the burning questions that you maybe have.
And we'll keep your name anonymous. We would just answer your question unless you specify that you don't want us to.
Unless you want us to give you a shout out, we'll shout you out. We'll be like, hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, Brian.
So, the subject is escaping sex as escapism. Hi, April and Amy. I recently discovered your podcast, and your approach is really working for me. I love your show. I'm a mid to late 40s guy in a long-term relationship, 15 years, and I'm having a late come-to-Jesus moment with myself. Some would say a midlife crisis. What I've realized is that sex for me has always involved escaping myself. Like, I'm not present. I love sex. Sex is great. But I have to absent myself to be there because of, shame. I'm following your advice on developing my core erotic themes, and your ideas are really helping. But I wonder if you have any additional advice for me because I feel stuck. I appreciate everything you do. Anonymous 40-year-old.
Thank you, anonymous 40-year-old human. We really appreciate your question. And I'm sure a lot of people can potentially identify with or relate to what you're asking.
Even if you're not in your 40s, but being in long-term relationships, it's difficult. Sometimes which we were talking about yesterday at our workshop, you get in your head and out of your body.
Most people are doing that all the time. And it's very common for us to leave our bodies, and it's very common for us to do that, especially when we have a lot of shame, insecurities, which is great for this topic of this podcast, and trauma, because our bodies don't feel safe. And so my first question to you would be, I guess, what is it that you feel, what kind of shame do you feel like you're carrying? Is it, and where is it? What are you carrying? What's yours and what isn't?
Identify the shame.
Yeah. So where did it come from, and what are you kind of carrying with you that is no longer serving you? And I know it's not easy. It's easier said than done. We don't just like get rid of it, but getting really clear on what that is. Is it body insecurities? Is it related to performance? Is it related to your ability to emotionally connect? There's so many things there.
Are you thinking about work too much during, sexy time?
Yeah, like what's
that happens to me sometimes.
Yeah, what's getting in the way there? In this case, it sounds like there's shame. And that's what you stated. That's coming in and is making it so that you're still having sex, but you're leaving your body. And so you're in your head when you're touching or being touched. And it sounds like you're really desiring to find a way to be more present in your body. And so this goes really hand in hand when we teach our erotic empowerment workshop. The first step really is getting clear on that shame. Where is it coming from? What's yours? What's not yours? And then outing it, finding the outlets of, in this, my what's coming to me here as I read this, you're not really stating exactly what the shame is, that the shame is there. So my first inkling would be that the shame is pretty big. Because you're not like, I have shame about X, Y, and Z. Or maybe you just wanted to keep it short and sweet. So that's kind of an assumption on my end. But outing your shame to someone that can be a really great shame ally. And if you've never reviewed Brene Brown's work on shame and shame resiliency and
Men, Women, and Worthiness, that book.
So wonderful.
Also.
Well, it's an audiobook too,
And
right?
I have it on Audible.
It's amazing. Yeah. And so ways that we can make it so that shame will kind of unstuck us or unstuck to us by outing it to someone that will love you in your vulnerability, so it's no longer this heavy baggage carrying yours. So not someone who's like, grow some balls, none of that shit. That's not the person out your shame to. Someone that will still hear you, and you can ask them, I'm not looking for you to try to fix me. I have this thing that's really heavy.
You quoted her yesterday too with her book, and I think that's a pretty powerful quote. You should also share that.
Shame thrives in silence and secrecy, and it dies in empathy. So when you hold it all on your own, it's so much weight and just grows and grows and grows.
So maybe out your shame with your partner. Talk about it.
Or maybe if you're not safe feeling safe outing with your partner, to a close friend, to just anyone that you feel will love you in all of your vulnerability, that will be like, I still love you. It's all good. And so I think that would be the number one thing. And you're already doing the work for your core erotic theme, and then paying attention when you're having sex. And I would actually suggest starting if you don't have, I almost said masturbation. That's not what I meant. A meditation. Meditation.
Hand in hand.
Same.
Sex is like a meditation.
And meditation is like sex. I don't know. Yeah, same thing.
Chicken or egg.
So if you don't have a meditation practice, starting to take one up, because connected present sex is a meditation, meaning we have single point of focus on the sensations or the breath or the connection or something, but not in the what do I look like, what do I smell like, am I taking too long, am I worthy of this, which isn't usually there's other stuff beyond that. But so starting to have a meditation practice so that you can get your single pointed focus game down. So maybe just 5 minutes a day. Every morning, 5 minutes a day. Start
small too. Start with 3 if you don't feel comfortable with 5. Yeah. There's so many good apps that I used to use because I have a brain that rumbles at like,
she moves real fast.
Constant, like it's constantly vibrating, like, brrr, and it, I need the quieting of my mind. So I use an app. It's just a meditation app. I think it's like Calm. I think it's called Calm.
So many of them.
There's so many, but just download a meditation app and it'll ding.
5 minutes.
Yeah, and do it when you're laying down in bed in the morning before you wake up and make your coffee. Mm-hmm. Do it on an airplane if you're in an airplane.
Yeah.
Don't do it while you're driving because you need to see.
You need to, and that would not be single point of focus. So yeah, we're trying to focus on one thing, and then when it comes to touch or being touched, the focus is either on the touch. So say someone's touching your body. You just focus on that. So what does it feel like to have someone else's fingers on my nipples, on my belly, on my genitals, just staying with that touch? And the mind will come in and try to pull you out of it. It's what it does. It's like, insecurity, or distraction, or whatever.
Be in the touch.
Come back to the touch. Or focus on the breath. These are your 2 tools to keep you in your body and keep you present. And the more you practice it, the easier it's going to get. And, almost said but, and it's really important for you to do the first piece with the shame, because it's going to be really, really hard to stay in your body if that shame is just lingering and festering in your body. So getting clear on the shame.
Won't be as effective. These practices,
you
these
could
tools.
still, but the shame needs to be worked on at some point. It does. Because otherwise it's going to be just like weights on your ankles, pulling you down in the depths of this big, dark ocean.
Release the shame.
Yeah. Cut yourself free of those weights, and then start to really focus on the breath or the body and make it a practice. Develop a meditation practice. Keep up getting clear on your core erotic theme and listening to us and staying awesome.
Yeah, the first step is listening to us. Thank you.
Well, and reaching out to us is big.
Reaching out.
We're really stoked on that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Second step.
Thank
you so much for your question, Monsieur from 40-something. We really appreciate it. That's my best French accent for the day because we're drinking the Grüne which is actually Austrian.
Austrian? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Like the governor?
Come to my house in Malibu.
In Malibu.
Do you like that?
I can't do it.
That was pretty good. No, mine.
Yours is great.
Governor. All right. Well,
what do you think? Wait.
Oh.
What do you think the governor sounds like when he's having sex?
Yeah, Scheisse. 9.
That's hot.
That's pretty good.
Not hot.
I mean, I think so. What do you think?
I think it's great. I don't want to fuck you.
It's like, come in my ass in Malibu.
Did you say ass?
Yeah. Just trying to change it up.
Perfect. All right. So anyways, so let's intro the topic, because this is a different kind of twist on the episode. We already did, but let's do a reminder. What's the topic again?
We are going to dive into discussing insecurities in relationships and how to overcome / evaluate / just move through those.
Slash
And
more slash.
Ellipse.
We're
Is there an
going
ellipse
to
here?
work with them. And sometimes I think I want to say, I don't think I want to say, I do want to say that we don't necessarily overcome, we work with them, because they sometimes don't go away entirely. We just learn to make space for them. And that's what we're going to dive into. Ready?
Making space.
Set, go.
Woo! Both Amy and I are pretty spiritual creatures, right? And I've been doing some research because I was like, what's happening? Like, I feel a little bit out of line, out of tune, out of sequence from my usual way of existing on the planet, which is pretty balanced. And I was like, what is happening? So Mercury's in retrograde, which everyone kind of knows, like, it's known Mercury kind of has the chaos vibe when it's in retrograde. So business can be crazy. Your communication with a partner or friendships can change and kind of be misunderstood. There's a lot of weird energy that happens when Mercury's in retrograde. It like symbolizes chaos.
Which we're kind of ties into what we're talking about right now. It ties into some of the stuff. I just had kind of a, we'll call it a communication breakdown with my partner this last weekend, and you've had some stuff. So today, this is a quickie. It's not going to be a full 1 hour podcast. We're not going to tell you about our updates and our sex lives. We're going to dive deep into insecurities and how to work with them in relationships.
Which is funny because both you and I had similar,
very
similar. I mean, they were similar, but experience-wise, they were a bit different. But we both had the insecurity stuff come up the same week, and we talked about it last night. We were like, and it's pretty interesting that it happened. And I think it has to do with, again, coming back to the eclipse situation. I was researching, and it says, like, so wherever the eclipse happens, the full lunar eclipse happens every, so often. I don't know exactly the stats of the, the years between each, but it's really rare to have an on-land eclipse because the Earth is composed of more than 70% of water. So if you look at it in, mathematically, it's really, there's small chances that you'll see an eclipse on land. So, but wherever an eclipse is happening, it affects the area, the what is it called? The path of totality? The path of totality.
Yes.
So it affects that area and the humans in that area the most. So when it happens in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, no one's feeling the effects of this, the eclipse. But since it's happening in the U.S., we are in the path of totality. I'm feeling it. Like, got some things. Mm-hmm. Some things are happening.
Yeah, and some breakthroughs. And so what I will start with, I've been doing this a lot lately. I love starting with kind of like a movie where you start with like the end scene and then you go back. The rest of the movie is all about like how you got there to the end scene.
Oh, right.
End scene, I will tell you, is that on the day before yesterday, when were we in Salem? Day before yesterday. I had an appointment with my therapist. I have a wonderful therapist. Therapy is wonderful, everyone. It's hard to find good therapists, and I have probably...
I'm about to call her.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She's the greatest gift to the whole world. I would tell you her name, but then I might not be able to get an appointment with her. But
me neither. Don't do it yet.
If you desperately need it, you can reach out to me because she is incredible. And so I made an appointment with her to go into some of the stuff that I had this breakdown about that is all about insecurity. And in my case, it's insecurity that is based off past relationship stuff with my partner. But for this podcast, this applies to everyone. I don't know anyone who doesn't have insecurities that aren't popping up in relationships. It's always popping up, whether it's from the current partner that you're with, or partners that maybe there was some past hurt or scary stuff that happened, or partners before that, or
we're both extremely secure women
with insecurities.
Mm-hmm. And I think that even the most secure person
has insecurities
at some point. And whether it's in relationships or whether it's in being in an uncomfortable situation. So it's okay to have those insecurities.
Yeah. What we were talking about last night is there's a side of us that and you were talking about this, April. You were talking about how as an empowered woman, it feels like these insecurities shouldn't be here. And I was saying
it feels like I'm weak. I'm like, why am I having these emotions, these feelings? I feel, but it's not weakness. No. It's actually, I can find my strength in this.
Exactly. And that's the part of embracing the vulnerability. There's room for both. There is room for you to be a strong and empowered individual and sensual and sexual being. And there's room for you to have fears and insecurities that pop up. And they might seem irrational and they might be really rational. Like there's room for all of it. It's a matter of how we work with it. And so no one is a superhero free of insecurities, and no one is like a perfectly clean slate. Like maybe we have a moment where we think that because we've done a lot of work, but life throws us all kinds of curveballs and we get beat down, and we're not victims, but we have things that make us fearful of ourselves or of other things.
And you and I have historically stuffed these things. Yes. I mean, not like within the last maybe, year and a half, but I know I can speak for myself when I say I was the ultimate insecurity stuffer. Like something would come up that I felt weird about, I felt some feelings about, and I would just stuff it. Like, get over it, April. You can handle that. Just get over it.
Mm-hmm. And that doesn't help because then it just builds and festers in your system. It's a crack in your own foundation and it adds layers and layers of other stuff on top of it, and then you can't get into it. So it's not, and there's a way to lovingly speak insecurity. So we're going to talk right now about speaking when we have insecurities pop up in relationship. So we're in relationship with someone else, whatever that relationship dynamic looks like. How can we communicate when our insecurities come up in a way where we're not blaming, because our insecurities are ours and they might have something to do with our current partner, and that's okay. But how can we actually bring this up in a way that is loving and helpful so that we can move forward and just have them help us? So,
and also bringing it up in general too is really important.
It's hard and it's scary.
It is, and I'm fearful. I mean, we're going to open it up, but I'm fearful of my current insecurity situation and bringing it up, and not because I'm afraid. I am afraid of rejection. I think just
of losing the love. It always comes down to losing the love, and at the end of the day, what usually happens is when we express insecurities or fears in a loving way. So not like, you made me do this and now I feel this. That's not going to help. Of course, you're not going to do that. But if we express it in a way that is loving and we take ownership of this is how I feel, it's going to be different. So let's do you want to describe what your insecurities are, and then I can kind of give you some advice on how to voice it.
That sounds great.
All right.
So I'll lay out the scenario of what was occurring. So basically, new partner. Everyone, if you've been tuning into the podcast, knows like I'm no longer single, doing my tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier whatevs. I am in an exclusive relationship with a new partner. And it's been awesome. And one thing that he's mentioned is like my level of confidence and security is really amazing to him. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. Fuck yeah. I'm a secure ass woman. I know it. I'm cool. So the other night we're talking and I just simply kind of asked a question about the person that he was with previous to me, and whom I don't know, and he proceeded to go into great detail about some of the sex they had being a lot and frequent, and then how hot she is, and then kind of just talking about how awesome she is, and initially, I just kind of was like processing, being like, I was shitting myself. I should really feel awesome about him feeling great about his ex-partner, but I don't. I'm like, I feel like, is there something I need to compete with this? Like, I'm not like, okay, like that's cool. Why aren't you with her then? If she's this amazing, awesome human that you value and love and adore, and the reason that she came up, this is why she came up. Oh, his phone was ringing at like 1 a.m. And so,
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, dun, dun, dun. And I was like, we were just talking in the kitchen and I was like, are you going to get that? And I didn't look at it. I was just like, I saw it blowing up, and he looked at it and then he put it away. He's like, no, it's blah, blah. I'm not going to answer it now. And I was like, is that a regularity? Are you getting calls from her at 1 a.m. on a regular? And then it was like, you could hear my insecurity right there. Like,
oh my God.
But I was like, I want some clarity. Like, that's kind of interesting to me. And I wasn't getting angry. I was just like, inquiring, because I was like, is this something that I need to know about? Like, is it a booty call? Is she in town? Like, what's going on? And so that's when he opened up the stuff about how awesome she is and that they're still really good friends. And then I just kind of stuffed it. I was like, I don't really want to talk about this anymore. And I said, okay, I get it. She's awesome. Fuck yeah. I'm glad. Like, awesome that you had great deals with her. But then when I processed it after, I found myself feeling very insecure about the whole thing. And then I talked to you about it yesterday. And
so it brought up some worthiness stuff.
Right.
And this is completely normal. And And so, like, again, this is the time where where there's, and you're kind of guilt tripping yourself a little bit, because part of you is really, this is what you said last night, part of you is really stoked that he has such an awesome relationship with her. It's so
It
beautiful.
shows about his character and his integrity.
Yeah.
And I too have great relationships with most of my exes.
So there's like an internal battle there that you're going through. And this is where, and this is some work I've done with my therapist that's been really helpful for me, but she always emphasizes that there's room for both. There is room for the insecurity, and there's room for the fuck yes, that's so awesome that he's so close to his ex, and yet I'm still insecure about it. We live in this society where we seem to think that there should only be one. There like isn't room for us to have all the things, all the feelings, but you can have all of them. So yeah, you're saying it's beautiful that he has this. It shows his character.
I would much rather have that in for knowing who I am. Like, I have no beef with like anyone. You know, like I'm always like a residual grudge holder. I'm always like, work it out. So for me, if he was like hating on her, I'd be like, that's not good. And even previously, and I was telling you this yesterday when I was, kind of in and out with a previous tier, he would discuss his ex and say a lot of horrible things about her, and I would actually correct him and be like, you were, yes, this is a totally different person. I was like, you were with this person for a significant portion of time. There's got to be great things about her, and I think that you should shift your views. Maybe
should.
Yeah. Well, like.
Perhaps
it might be nice if you talk a little bit better. I said, for every negative thing you say about her, you should say 2 positive things. That's what I actually did, a practice with him. And he would kind of like, oh, no.
There's probably a lot of hurt there. Like, you know, when we go into a place of anger, it's underneath is sadness and hurt.
Right.
And fear. And so there's probably some hurt when someone did some things that didn't feel so good, and it brings up a lot of stuff. And so when he's talking about it, it's bringing up the hurt. So, I mean, anger and shit-talking, all that is never an isolated event. There's always some layers beneath it that always have to do with vulnerability and sadness and hurt and pain.
Right.
So,
which I completely understood. And with that situation, I felt like I was a definite teacher for him. But now in my current situation, I'm like, and I'll tell you, with my ex-husband, I would like talk to his ex-fiance on the phone sometimes, not like on a regular or anything, but I had perfect confidence in my relationship with him. I don't have history of a lot of jealousy and insecurities. Yes, again, but I've been a very secure human in the last year and a half, maybe year, let's say year, where none of this stuff has come up. I've never been threatened, and I don't like the word threatened, but I've never felt like I do right now. Maybe it's the Mercury in retrograde.
Well, and this is also a new relationship. We can go and blame it on the spirits and the planets and all that jazz, but also let's consider that this is a new relationship. And the relationship dynamic is different than what you've had previously. And so there's a lot of love and connection, and this person adores you, and I can see that because I know this person too. And maybe they're not like, the last person, your ex-husband, he was literally like needing you and worshiping the ground that you walked on, which felt really good for you. And eventually at some point it was kind of a little overwhelming too. And so this is different. That's not happening there. This person seems a little more free, a little more settled in themselves. Granted, they do have their own insecurities. So there's that, there's that piece. So I think, the different levels here. One, what
would be the best?
So the levels here is you're talking about, there's a little bit of being hard on yourself, and then there's the insecurities that you don't want to be here, and you're like, why are they here? And I just want to be able to be positive and empowered. Creating space for everything. Creating space for it's okay that I'm insecure, and it's also okay that I'm also empowered at the same time. Number 2 is owning the insecurity. So it's not blaming. It's not, you did this and so fuck you, I'm feeling this thing. It's where did it come from? Going with some curiosity of the insecurities. And, quite possibly you've had relationships where people have cheated on you or hurt you or abandoned you. Your dad wasn't that present. So these are just some ideas, and we don't need to go too deep into like the full psychoanalytical aspect of it. But ways to consider that these insecurities aren't just isolated, but with this one person, because you don't have a history with him for him to show you at this point. Whereas in my case, I have a history with my partner where there actually has been some stuff where trust has been breached, and there has been, there's some deceit and moments of lacking truth. So a lot of my stuff that pops up now with insecurities and triggers are actually related to the relationship and are hours to work on,
and mine are more just in my head,
in your head and your past,
right, in my past.
So understanding that, and so that will help to take some of the just
and then communicating it as well
lovingly. So this is what happens if you heard, you had the moment when you saw the text message or saw the phone call. It's good to take a break and maybe not go into it right away. But if you're feeling like it's a good moment where like you guys have time, no one's stressed out, everyone's in good spirits, then in that moment you can say, hey, I just want to let you know, you're not doing anything wrong here. Like I love you, but I'm feeling some things like seeing this.
So the and, call, not the but.
And yeah,
so I love you, and some stuff came up for me.
This is one thing my partner suggested. The you're not doing anything wrong. To premise it with that is really helpful because it lets them know. Okay, so I'm okay. All right, good. And I just want to let you know I'm having some triggers right now. Seeing that phone call at 1 a.m. is just kind of bringing up some triggers for me, and I'm not blaming you, and I'm not asking you to, fix me or anything. I'm wondering if you can hold some space for that, and I can express my triggers and my hurt to you. And then you express it. Then you just express what's going through you. What you're feeling, and this is that empowered language. I feel this, I feel that. So That's what you could do in the moment, but we're not in the moment. Now we're a week later, a couple of days later.
Yes.
Okay. So
that was on Saturday. Now it's Thursday, Wednesday.
Too late, people. It's never too late. If you let it sit in you, it grows, and it has grown because we've been talking about it. So it's feeling like it has some power.
It has grown actually, because I did take some time to process it, and then I processed it with you. And I remember being in the shower, being like, "Yeah, I'm kind of bothered by that."
Yeah,
but I never act out of anger. Like I always if I feel myself getting frustrated or angry, I try to back away and then process and then reevaluate, because coming from a place of anger is never going to be beneficial to anyone. And I wasn't angry at that moment. I was kind of just perplexed.
And the key there will be sometimes when people back away and process, sometimes they give up and they don't go into it
Which
later.
I actually probably would have done, because remember yesterday when we were talking about it, I was like, I'm fine. I can bury it. I can deal with it. It's not a big deal.
Okay,
and you were
so
like,
let me explain what happened when I buried it last weekend. So last weekend, I'll give you the very Cliff Notes version. My partner was sharing about a dream that he had, and in the dream, we're in a closed monogamous relationship right now. We've done open, we've done kind of confusing, fucked up polyamory that wasn't ethical, and all those things. We've done it all. We've done everything. So right now we're in closed monogamy, in a trusting, committed, loving relationship that feels really good and feeling really safe. And he shared a dream that he had, and it's totally okay to share your dreams.
Right, it's a dream.
A dream that he had that I felt I was triggered by, though. And the dream was that we were in some sort of open space where he was being intimate with someone else, and that it was okay. Like in it, he knew that I was okay with it. And instantly it brought up for me this oh wait, fuck, is that what he wants? Like, are we doing that again? Like we're still healing and building, and I am not there right now. And
you've had stuff with that where you're because you have almost PTSD from some of the experiences.
Exactly. One of our things is that the way some of the stuff has happened in the past is that it's been told this is what's going to happen from him. It's not you have a choice. This is how I feel, and this is how we're moving forward. If you want to be a part of it, otherwise I'm moving forward this way. And
it wasn't a democracy at all.
Oh, no. Yeah. So, and now, because we weren't in this full part, and we weren't partners. I was trying to be a partner, but he wasn't all in. He was saying that he was, but he wasn't ready to be all in. And so we were not a team. And now he's doing such wonderful, beautiful things to consult me as a team. He even had this ex-person that's I'm not going to get too deep into it, but who it's been very clear that in honor of respecting he and I as we get back together and kind of heal some stuff, that she stays out of the picture. She actually did,
and she has not,
and she reached out to him again. Yes,
which can bring up some insecurities for anybody when it's
oh,
surprise.
He handled it really well. He instantly contacted me and was like, "Hey, this feels like it's out of a breach of what you two agreed on." And I was like, "Yeah, that doesn't feel good, and that doesn't." This person told me that they were going to respect that, and then 2 months later they didn't. So yeah, that doesn't feel good and brings up some stuff for me. And he just, he's like, okay, well, I want to, because we're a team. So I'm going to go about this in whatever's best for the team, and that means not responding to her. So anyways, that's a tangent. So what I did that night, I felt the trigger about the dream, didn't do anything about it, just felt it, didn't ask him questions. Is that what you want to do now?
You stuffed it.
Then the next day we were walking around a festival, and I saw two different women that had these light triggers. One was someone that he actually had been intimate with, that she was in an open marriage. And so I felt a thing because it just brought up a thing. And
because you were already holding on to these feelings of insecurity from the conversation before.
It was as if the universe was throwing these people that were, so this woman that he had this intimate thing in the past that she was an open marriage, and they actually had been intimate while we were dating in the beginning. And then another woman that, towards the end of our last end of relationship deal, God, we're so complicated, that he expressed this attraction to. And so, but I stuffed it. What I ended up doing was like, what you're talking about. I'm empowered. I'm strong. I'm not supposed to talk about this. I don't want to stir up some shit. We're at a festival. This is not the right time. Ah! So instead, I took myself out of the scenario and went home and went to bed early. And then woke up really proud of myself. Oh, I handled that so well. Yay. But the next night, I had a full-on lash out.
Tantrum?
Like a 5-year-old tantrum because I buried it. And it came out in this thing where I was starting to get like jealous of him even giving attention to other men and ignoring me, which I'm not usually, I don't want to say that person. So I'm not.
No, you've never been that person.
No,
you're very.
But it was like he would just sit next to me and sitting next to another man, talking to this other man for an hour. And I'm like, start going to this 5-year, like
brooding in your, brooding over there. Oh no.
Yeah, resulted in a whole thing that then we later figured out when I came clean about what was beneath it, which could have been avoided had I have been clear about my insecurity from the start. Like, hey, I just want to let you know you didn't do anything wrong. And I love you, and I really would. Can I talk to you about this thing?
And we have tools to help with that.
Yeah.
Because remember which podcast did we talk about empowered language?
It's number 2.
I think it's number 2. If you're wondering like specifics on how to approach your partner and maybe you have stuffed some of these things, it's going to be important. Listen to podcast 2. We talk about living in the do state, coming in with the I feel this way.
Empowered language.
Yes. If you're feeling jealousy or maybe you're feeling insecure, it's good. Look into yourself and as Amy's discussing, like she had a tantrum. Amy, who is really like down to earth.
Empowered people have tantrums sometimes. Yes. It's not my most empowered moment. I'm still an empowered woman, but I'm always learning. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So we figured it out. We sorted through it. There was some hurt on his, he was hurt by.
So how did you address it? Because give the folks
eventually
tools.
It was a big lash out, and then the next day we went into it and figured out the solutions and how to handle it best. And so I didn't go like you are where I am, but you have the potential to go about it in a stronger way. Right. So I didn't go about it in the best way. Now I have this reminder of how to voice my insecurities because it is challenging for me because I don't want to lose the love, all that stuff. It
brings up the worthiness. The worthiness is, I think, the best way to describe it because that's what I feel. I'm like, am I not worthy enough?
Am I not enough?
Right.
Is it you talk about, you're talking about who he's talking about this other woman.
When I goddamn know that I fucking am worthy enough. I'm like, I am the shit.
Rational adult mind knows you're her little inner child that has past experiences of being treated like they weren't special,
right?
Or enough.
My daddy issues, god damn it! I thought it was over.
So this is what we talked about for you. Let's come back to you now because you're in the place where there hasn't been a tantrum moment. You've been working on it, thinking about it, processing it. So now you're in this golden space to have a beautiful conversation that comes from a loving place.
Oh, we can do some role playing right now.
Yes.
Oh,
let's do some role playing.
Okay.
So, do you want to be your person or do you want to be you? I think you should probably be your person because I'm going to talk to you. Or
yeah, I'll be my person.
Okay.
Hey, how's it going?
Well, hey.
Hi. I missed you.
I miss you too. This is how they talk.
I like your titties.
You're really fine.
Yeah. Okay. Here's my anal virginity.
Oh, wait, that's not what he says.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot.
Okay. So, all right. So, I'm April and she is him because we're not using names. So, hi. I just want to let you know that I love you. And
I love you too.
Thank you, honey. And there's something I'd like to talk to you about that's kind of big for me that I've been thinking about. Is this a good time?
Yeah. What's up? What's going on? What's happening? No, right now it's great.
Awesome.
What's up?
Thank you. Okay, so you didn't do anything wrong. Let me just start it with that. You didn't do anything wrong.
Okay.
And I have some triggers that came up, and I know that they're mine because there hasn't been anything that has happened in this relationship that has made me fearful of you. There's not hurt here. Like, we're new, and it's really beautiful. I'm so grateful for this thing that we're doing and this thing that we're building. And I had some triggers that came up specifically around your ex-partner and the way that you were talking about it in a really beautiful way. And in fact, this is really hard for me. Like, I want to let you know how hard this is for me because I'm having this conflicting thing. I love that you speak so highly of her. I think it's so admirable. I think it's so beautiful. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. And I still feel these insecurities, like maybe I'm not enough because you speak so highly of her in so many ways. And I'm not saying to stop doing that. I'm just asking for space for my insecurities to be allowed to be here. So I'm not really looking for fixing. I'm not telling you you're bad or you're doing anything wrong. It's just like there's these two parts that are here. There's the I love that you have that, and I think it's so admirable and wonderful. And I have insecurities that come up based on my past that make me go. They don't make me. I go into a space. I'm feeling like maybe I'm not enough, and I know that I am. And
You're amazing.
Oh, thank you. That feels so
You're the
good.
best ever, my unicorn.
His excellence.
Up his excellence.
Good. So he'll say something else, but it's something along those lines.
So let's in bulleted point Cliff Notes. I want to take away because I think that's important.
I love Cliff Notes.
I know, me too. So
people are like, you guys are rambling.
Basically, like your goal. So my goal is to, hey, can I talk to you about something that's bothering me?
And then, is this a good time?
Is this a good time?
It's really important because if you're like, I have a thing and you have to listen to me and it's not a good time. So and if they say it's not, then
open the space. Right. Like, okay, so I have a thing. And then kind of go into kind of the details, but in an I feel space and say the outcome that you're looking.
And some reassurance.
Right.
Like, do some reassurance too. Unless you feel like they did something wrong, then and it has
which
to be
is
authentic.
nothing happened that was
not
wrong.
Like this, but
and kind of, I also think that adding it's my stuff is good.
My stuff, and you. So in my case, it was my stuff and our stuff.
Right. But
so,
this one is my stuff.
But my partner didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
In this case, so yeah, in your case, it will be this is my stuff and it's past stuff. I want to let you know that you didn't do anything wrong, and I love you, and I'm so grateful for what we're building here. Or whatever you can say that feels authentic.
Like a shit sandwich.
A shit sandwich, but
you compliment, put the shit, and then end in a compliment.
Authentic sandwich.
Shit sandwich. Yeah. So then, so I go into that kind of like detailing my feelings, and then saying basically, in this particular situation, of course, what I want out of it is only him to hold space. It's not like I want you to quit doing something or stop doing something. I just want you to hold space and understand my insecurity a bit more. That's coming from a place of love.
We come from a place where we're all of a sudden like, and now they feel controlled. Okay, and I need you to not. And
right.
And in my
I don't
case,
like to need or should anyone.
No.
And I love how you switched too during that conversation when you like, because it's really easy, and we do this all the time in our normal psyche. It's so easy for us to say, "You make me feel this way." Yeah. Mm-hmm. And remember, everyone, you're responsible for your own feelings. No one else is, just you. You can say that Trump makes you angry. But actually, you are angered by something. And I don't want to use Trump as a thing, but it is like a whole political process here. You're responsible for your own feelings. No one is making you feel anyway. Things that occur may have an effect on how you feel.
Well, triggers generally are not isolated events. They're coming from something else that's in you, in your past. And so you're not a victim. People can be perpetrators. So I'm actually not going to say it in that sense because that is highly possible. It depends on the circumstance. So maybe...
Well, if there's physical stuff involved, that's totally different.
Emotional manipulation and all that.
Right.
But in this case, if you were to say... you made me feel it's like when you picked when I saw that when she called you like that she made me feel this or you made me feel this
right
like, not so much. That's not exactly
it's kind of like I felt this way when I saw that and it brought up some stuff for me,
and I understand that's how some people might be like, why do the semantics matter so much? But they kind of do, because when we word things in a way that doesn't feel loving or feels attacking, it can be highly triggering, and then we have a downward spiral,
and then you're not getting to a solution.
No,
it's just going to create tension. So coming from that, it's a therapeutic kind of way to have conversations.
It's nonviolent communication.
And that's that book, Taking the Word of Our Words, is a perfect example of communicating nonviolently, which helped me greatly after my divorce, like get through on how to communicate properly,
lovingly,
and have an effect on, because everybody is in their own world, in their own zone, experiencing their own things. So if you can communicate, because we are defensive communicators regularly. It's actually in our DNA, just like a lot of things, to be defensive communicators. So if you can switch that, shift that, find your way to communicate in this non-violent, non-defensive way, which is what we're doing right now in this situation, you will have more success with relationships. You'll have more success in business relationships. It's all a matter of coming from the I feel mentality, I guess.
Yeah. And it's in like tapping into the heart and operating from there. We just taught a workshop last night to a group of women, and it's our erotic superstar workshop that we're teaching the day after the eclipse, the day that this episode is coming out.
Right?
Actually. So,
yes.
Whoa, superstitious. And so what we had people do, because it's sometimes hard to feel from our hearts. We're like, for me, I identify as a very heady person. I'm constantly like operating.
Me too. We're both like very heady women.
And so what I had everyone do is this fun trick. So I had everyone they had a coin, and I assigned heads to meaning yes. You're going to flip the coin and ask it a question. Heads always means yes. Tails always means no. No. And you ask a question like, should I buy that car? Should I drink coffee in the morning? You know, should I have sex tonight with that hot person that I met yesterday? Or, you know, whatever.
Just like a yes or no question that
exactly.
It can be as grand or as small as you want it to be.
And you ask the question, then we all flip it, and they get their answer. And they look at it, and it's not what the coin says. So that you say you get a yes. It's how you feel. So then I ask, how do you feel about it?
And we heard people being like, yes.
Or like,
like wah, wah. And we're like, well, there's your answer.
The deep wisdom. That's where we're operating from. That's where we get the internal wisdom of how we should move forward, how we should make choices. And if you identify as heady people, it's pretty hard to do. It takes work to get in there. And this is one of the tools so we can actually feel what it feels like to operate from that place.
Right. So try it. You can have a little coin. Say heads is yes, tails is no.
Just
everywhere you go, just flip that coin.
Should I buy this box of cereal? Flip. I really
want it. So there you go, get it.
Mm-hmm.
If I did that with shopping, I'd be like, I'm going to buy everything.
I know.
All the time.
Yeah, but maybe you wouldn't, because maybe you'd be like, my bank account would be pretty disappointing.
Well,
that's another podcast.
That's all them things.
So I think that's. So are you feeling ready for this conversation?
I'm feeling ready. I think that I have the tools needed, and I'm coming from a place of empowered language, empowered feeling, and I'm okay with my vulnerability, and I'm okay with feeling that I may have some insecurities. Like, I realize it, and I'm happy to know that it's okay to feel insecure, even as an empowered woman.
There's room for it
or
all.
Person. It's really
just
do.
About how you go about it. Not empowered if you have a little tantrum like Amy did.
Right.
But I can have moments. I have my moments.
Yes. I mean,
I'm human.
I do. I do feel like even if you all out there practicing these things, hopefully you are practicing them. I mean, they do really work. Like, ever since I switched language, small shifts, the do's to the don'ts, the don'ts from the do's. And then coming from the I feel stuff is so powerful. So try it out. Try it for 1 day. Try it for 2 days. Try it for a week.
Yep.
It'll be good.
Lots of skills.
So I can follow up about it and how it goes. I'm going to have the conversation.
And then we also need to talk about, end with everyone. You all need to tune in the next couple weeks, because she's going to be losing her anal virginity.
Before the end of August. Exciting. I'm giving it up for anal August.
I think, so this is my vote, everyone. I think, because when you're going to hear this is the day after the eclipse. So, but it's, a week before the eclipse. I vote that the day of the eclipse, she loses her anal virginity. And
apparently,
we'll podcast the next day.
Apparently, because this article I read from the spiritual
anal.
scientific research, the article that I read about the eclipse, they were saying you should fast for 12 hours before the eclipse. So from 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. when it happens, because of whatever. There's a bunch of different things. You can look up the article. It's the...
And then you should have deep
And then
anal.
I should just have deep anal after that. I got to buy a butt plug when we go into the store.
You could even have deep anal, because there's nothing in your system.
I know. Like, why don't you just fist it? I'll just go straight for the fisting. Damn.
This is at a festival.
At a festival. I'm going to have to clean that anus.
Good thing you have an RV.
Yep. So I think the takeaway is everyone will follow up about insecurities. It's okay to be insecure.
There's room for everything. It's all about how we go about it. It's all about the reaction that we have. It's all about how we speak and communicate and just speaking lovingly.
The thing is, we're not just saying communicate, talk about it. We're giving you all the tools to communicate in a way that could be highly effective to change your situation.
Love, peeps. Love.
So we really love all of our listeners. We thank you so much for tuning in every Tuesday to the Shameless Sex Podcast. Please write us a review on iTunes. We love reviews. We do this as a passion project. We're not making any money, honey.
Nope. We drink
So,
a little bit of wine.
We're drinking the Gruner Veltliner today, which is it's Gruner Veltliner. It's a really nice grape varietal from Austria.
Blanc?
It's like mineral, crisp, clean. If you've never had Gruner Veltliner, go try it. If you like Sauvignon Blanc and white wine, it's amazing. Rests easy on the palate. It's awesome. So we're drinking that, and legality reasons, but I'll tell you, in a car, in Starbucks mugs.
This is what happens when
we don't
you're
even like
road
Starbucks.
warriors. We're road warriors.
But we're road warriors.
Yeah.
So
We look
but
cute, though.
we do look cute. We're going to do a training now in 2 minutes, and we really do love you, though.
We love
Thank you. Write us a review.
Love you.
And you should also. Oh wait, I just shoulded. If you would please,
Por favor.
sign up for our newsletter. We put some things out. Go on shamelesssex.com.
Yep.
And sign up for our newsletter. You can find we're doing workshops in different places. We're traveling. We are, conquering the world slowly. One
We
shameless
won't send
sex
you
podcast
a
at a
million
time.
newsletters, too. We do like one a month.
Maybe one a month.
I think we've only
and
made
we can
one,
even
but-
send you discount codes to awesome sex toys. So check us out. Okay, we'll be in touch after the eclipse. All right, everyone. Ciao for now.
Like what you hear? Well, then head on over to shamelesssex.com for more podcasts and information on our latest happenings.